Hey guys, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. It's been a while and I'm not going to lie, I'm a little bit nervous. Today we'll be talking about something very different, something I've never spoken about on my Instagram. I try and be as transparent as I can with the surroundings of these things, and it all makes sense when I start talking about it. But I got diagnosed with something earlier this week and it broke my heart. So if you'd like to find out more, stay tuned. So for context, around 7 months ago, I started getting acne. I came back from my Greek. I started getting like these red bumps under my skin, and they were very big and very painful. I think the term would be cystic acne, but it was very minimal. It started off with one breakout, then two, then three, and slowly the 2 and 3 started becoming clusters. I'll enter some pictures and videos here so you know how it started. At that time, and I still do have an esthetician, so I spoke to her and she said, use these products. As time went on, those products did not help and it felt so confusing and it just started getting worse. And months went, days went. I tried to see if I could cut out certain food groups like gluten, dairy, soy, a lot of different products. Because I am a vegetarian and I have been vegetarian for nearly 3 years now, I thought maybe my body was starting to react with a lot of soya products or gluten or dairy, or even some sort of fruits. So I cut out a lot of those products and nothing helped. My acne consisted, and if anything, it got worse. And I like put even more pictures here. June, July, August. I went through whole of summer attending 4 weddings with my acne just getting worse, to the point I hated wearing makeup. I hated going out. I hated anyone seeing my skin because it just kept flaring up. And I don't know if the heat helped or not, but it just kept getting worse. I actually did everything under the sun, from mesotherapy treatments to microneedling to skin peels to changing up my skin routine to changing up my diet, my health, my skincare, drinking more water, adding different types of teas, a lot of different health products. Nothing seemed to help. And I will be inserting over here that I have vlogged my acne series, especially from December onwards, because I was trying out some Ayurvedic treatments as well, which did not help either, but I did vlog them. So it will be part 1 of my vlogging acne series. So please do watch that. A lot more detail with my experience. This video isn't all about my acne, but actually my symptoms. So I'll be going into that right now. So after trying so many different methods, products, skincare, health style changes, lifestyle changes, Ayurvedic treatments, medicines, nothing seemed to help. What to notice is that my period started coming a little bit later as well. And I think a few months ago, my period was 15 days late. And for me, that is very late. Usually my periods are 3 days early or 3 days late. And what I also started noticing is my period pains were so severe, I couldn't move. And that is so not like me. I've been menstruating from the age of 11, 12, and I've been gymming from the age of 14 onwards, doing lots of sports, not just gymming, doing lots of sports, playing different types of sports, going into the gym and training with weight training. My lifestyle usually is quite active as well. As a sports coach, I've worked as a personal trainer, and I've never had these problems. Of course, you experience some sort of pain, and I've had like 3 to 4 out of 10 cramping, which is deemed to be normal. But this was 10 out of 10 pain, to the point I physically could not move, and that is just not like me. I needed a hot water bottle, painkillers, again, something that I never do. So I started noticing that my period symptoms had started to change as well. Regardless of how healthy I ate, what kind of training I did, how I took care of my body, nothing seemed to help these symptoms. Another thing I started to notice is fatigue. And of course, the anxiety part of it, but also feeling depressed with my acne just did not help. The combination of these symptoms started to bring me really low, to the point it's so hard to get out of bed because I feel tired, I feel depressed, my skin isn't getting better, I can't look at myself in the mirror. For anyone who suffered with acne before knows exactly what I'm talking about. You don't want to go out anywhere, you don't want to look at yourself in the mirror, you don't even want to do makeup because you have to look at yourself in the mirror for you to be able to do makeup. And for me, if you know me, I love makeup, and I'm also very confident, or I was very confident without makeup too. I would do stories on Instagram without any filters, in any angles. it didn't matter to me because I felt confident in my skin. And this took such a big toll. I cannot even explain on my self-esteem, my confidence. Even with filters, I didn't feel like myself. I felt like somebody could spot my acne, and I had so many people come up to me and be like, what's happened to your skin? You used to have such clear skin. And it's not even about people coming and talking to you. I know myself that my skin isn't good, and someone pointing it out makes you feel even worse. Like if you've had acne or any other skin issues, someone pointing it out just makes you feel 100 times worse. To the conclusion of speaking to my GP and asking them for a blood test because I wanted to get to the root cause. I didn't want to just try and mask my acne, but try and get to the root cause of it, of why it's like this. For someone who's so healthy, for someone who trains regularly, for someone who's so balanced when it comes to their training, their mindfulness, their health, I wanted to know what was causing my acne. Was it hormone imbalances? Did I have something wrong? What had happened in the last few months to cause this flare-up of acne, which just was not going? It's been going on since June. It's nearly a year, and still have no answers to what I was doing. So I booked an appointment with my GP for a blood test. I think it was around the end of January or the beginning of February. And I specifically asked her to book me in for a blood test, testing my vitamins, but also most importantly, my hormone levels. Because of my acne, I definitely felt like something was wrong with my hormones or something was causing this flare-up. The appointment was then booked for the end of February, which of course was another 4 weeks of just feeling absolutely crap, not knowing what's causing it, and just going about my usual lifestyle, or at least trying. February, I finally had my blood test. I looked through my results myself, because now from the NHS app, you can look through your results yourself, which is with the average given next to the result that you have. I compared my results to the average and everything seemed fine except for my iron levels, which were slightly low, and my vitamin D, which is very, very common in South Asians or in Asians as it is. People with skin of color usually do have vitamin D deficiency. Then went ahead and booked another appointment with my doctor, which then revealed that my hormone levels are completely normal. Nothing is wrong. My Ayurvedic doctor also confirmed this and said your hormone levels are completely fine. Again, we had no answers. I felt so stuck. My period symptoms had started to get worse from this point, where I was getting period pains. They were coming late. I then started to suspect symptoms of endometriosis. I spoke to my doctor, spoke to him about my symptoms, and I also said my periods are coming late. At this point, 3 or 4 doctors had already said that periods are coming late, it could be due to stress, and it's pretty normal. But what I don't think they understood is, for me, it's not normal. So I started to dismiss it. I thought, okay, you know what? It's quite normal. Acne is normal. Periods being late may be normal. My painful periods may not be so normal. We spoke about endometriosis, and he agreed that my symptoms do sound similar to endometriosis. I then asked him to book me for an ultrasound, because that is one of the ways you can test for endometriosis. It's not a confirmed gold standard method, but it is a method where you can test for endometriosis. He then confirmed and said, I'll put you on the waiting list. He said it could take anything between 3 or 4 days to 5 to 6 months. He said the waiting list is very long, but it will take some time. Until then, I spoke to him and I said I would like to go on antibiotics for my skin. It's been so long, no type of holistic remedies, Ayurvedic medicines, nothing has helped me. So I decided to opt for antibiotics until we can find the root cause, and he agreed. I then booked another appointment with my GP where I showed her my acne, and she agreed that we can then go on antibiotics. The Ayurvedic doctor recommended a specific type of antibiotics, which is called erythromycin. Put down the exact name over here because I clearly don't know how to pronounce these medicines. And she agreed that maybe that will be a better option. She was also fascinated of how much research I had done with my skincare, but also in regards to my antibiotics. I spoke to her about my acne and I said nothing has helped it. I am a vegetarian. I have tried to cut off foods. My blood tests seemed to be normal. Everything was fine. So please, can we go on antibiotics? She agreed. She also talked about Accutane if antibiotics doesn't work, but I was willing to try antibiotics before I go on Accutane. She also prescribed me with a cream, which is called Epiduo, I believe, which is a combination of adapalene and benzoyl peroxide, 2.5%. So it is prescribed to use that cream every day. But because of my knowledge or my beliefs, whatever you want to call it, it isn't active, and to what I have researched, actives are not to be used every day. So for the last 2 weeks is when I got prescribed with the cream and the antibiotics. I have been using the cream 3 times a week, on a Monday, a Wednesday or a Thursday, or a Saturday. So giving at least a day in between to help my skin recover. And I only use 1 pump, which is around a pea-sized amount. I then received a letter last weekend on the Saturday saying that the ultrasound has been booked for Monday at 3:30 p.m. So I literally had 2 days of notice saying that you have an ultrasound. I went into my ultrasound thinking we'll be testing for endometriosis just to see if I have it or I don't. Went into the ultrasound room and went ahead and applied the gel, went over the ultrasound machine. She asked me why you're here for a scan. Me and my GP believe that I may have symptoms of endometriosis. And she goes, what symptoms do you have? I said, late periods. She straight away said, periods can be very sensitive because of your hormones to stress. I said, okay, but I am a fitness and health coach, and I think I manage my stress very well. I went on and explained my pain and fatigue and all the other symptoms I started experiencing and have before. I then went ahead and asked her if everything was okay. She seemed like everything seems fine, everything seems good. Can you go to the toilet and empty out your bladder? If you've been to an ultrasound or know about ultrasounds, you know that you're asked to drink a lot of water, a liter at least, before, so they can then check to then insert the ultrasound into my vagina. She then went right, then went left, told me to drop my leg, that I can see some cysts. At this point, my heart just dropped. And I said, okay, are you diagnosing me with PCOS? And she said, yes, I am diagnosing you with PCOS. Now, it wasn't a shock, but it was also a shock at the same time, if that makes sense, because I have clients that have PCOS. I know what PCOS can look like. My cousins have PCOS, my relatives have PCOS, but I never seem to have the common symptoms, which is why I never thought I may have PCOS. I never have excessive facial hair growth. I get my period every month. Experience any of the other symptoms that they talk about. The only symptoms that did make sense to me were acne and now obviously late periods. We'll come back to the story. I don't know why I keep waffling. And I said, are you sure? And she said, yes, your right ovary has a lot of tiny little cysts around the ovary, but your left ovary is completely fine. She said, your GP will talk to you more about the treatment and what you would like to do, but she said nothing to worry about. Left me feeling very confused, very annoyed, because she just said it so casually, like it was just dropped. And we went to test for endometriosis. So I asked her, do you think I'm clear of endometriosis? And she said, at the moment, we can't see anything. But for you to be able to confirm if you have endometriosis, you have to do a laboscopy. I don't know how to pronounce it, but I'll insert it here. Do a surgical test where they take some of your ovary tissue or uterus tissue, I'm not too sure, and they test if you have endometriosis. I went home and I felt heartbroken, so confused. It took them around 9 to 10 months to diagnose me with PCOS. And I've been telling them my periods are late and it's not normal. I've got acne and it's not normal. And no doctor turned around. It just felt like I was dismissed when I said that my periods aren't usually like this. I just felt like I wasn't taken seriously enough. I know this, oh, your periods are late because of stress. Felt very frustrated, very heartbroken. I spoke to some of my friends and my close family, speak to someone about it. I then booked another appointment the next day. Bearing in mind, this is my 5th or 6th doctor I'm now speaking to the doctor, and I said, how comes I have PCOS? The blood test didn't reveal anything. Usually when you have PCOS, we would be able to tell from your blood test because your testosterone levels will be high or your androgen levels will be high. Every doctor I've spoken to dismissed me because of my period symptoms. Even when I said something was wrong, nobody believed me. He said, I do apologize and I can only say sorry at this point. And my mum's had cysts before. Is it the same as PCOS? He said no. PCOS is when you have cysts inside of your ovaries. And that's when you're diagnosed with PCOS. It's different to having 1 or 2 cysts in your ovary, which can be surgically removed, which is exactly what my mum had. She had them surgically removed. I then spoke to him about my symptoms and I said my main issue was acne, but now it makes sense that I have acne because of PCOS. Acne was a symptom and not a cause. He then said, your acne may or may not be related to your PCOS. we cannot tell for sure because your hormone levels are completely fine. And usually when women have acne, especially hormonal acne or cystic acne, we can tell from your blood tests. I went ahead and spoke to him and said, I never thought I would have PCOS because I don't have the common symptoms. I think it's called I don't know what the actual, I don't know how to pronounce it, but I'll insert it here. And that's something I have never experienced, the main symptoms of PCOS. Another thing I never had is body acne. I have obviously had acne on my face. My acne is only limited to my face. I've never had it on my neck. I've never had it on my chest or my back, my arms, the back of my thighs. A lot of these symptoms I missed out. And the reason why I'm making this video is actually a couple of weeks ago, I made a video on Instagram. Our Instagram page is _TLift, and we are a women's health page where we talk about a lot of different things, such as menstrual cycles. And last week video of making a tea that I like to have on my periods. It's obviously very anti-inflammatory, very calming voiceover. And I talked about how women's health, especially periods, are deemed to be normal when you're in a lot of pain or the periods are delayed or you've had a sudden change in your periods. It's still deemed to be normal. The reason why I made that video is because I felt like I was not heard, and I felt like my periods weren't supposed to be this way. To my research, to my knowledge, your periods are supposed to be 3 days early or 3 days late. Your pain should be only subjected to maximum 4 out of 5 out of 10, and even that may be concerning. Your flow should be smooth and not feeling like you have a lot of clotting, which was another symptom that I had. And if there is any change, you should be speaking to your GP about it. Of what kind of PCOS do I have? Because to my research, there's different types: inflammatory, insulin resistance, and 2 others. He then said, according to the NIC guidelines, according to the guidelines that we use as doctors, there is no protocol or criteria of PCOS. My symptoms, and I said I don't have these common symptoms, and I am a fitness and health coach, so I really do take care of my health and my fitness and my body very, very well. He then said you may have a milder version of PCOS because your symptoms seem to be so under control. There's no type of PCOS I can categorize you in. Now, the reason why I'm making this video is because it's so heartbreaking. It took me 9 to 10 months for the doctors to then diagnose me with PCOS, to then find out that my acne was a symptom and not a cause. Genuinely so heartbreaking. I felt so frustrated at doctors because I felt like I wasn't heard. I felt like I was dismissed just with my periods and my symptoms, just saying it's stress. I felt like if I hadn't pushed for my blood test or my ultrasound, I would have never found out, ever. If the doctor had never agreed to do an ultrasound, I would have genuinely never found out I have been diagnosed with PCOS and understand how I can manage my symptoms. My main aim for making this video and explaining my experience and talking about my experience and what I went through is because I know there's so many women out there that have PCOS or endometriosis or think that having late periods or anything when it comes to your menstrual cycle is normal, because the society, the community, and even some doctors push you down to thinking it's normal, it's stress, you're okay, nothing is wrong with you, you're quite healthy. It's quite frustrating, and I think we need to be heard. So this is my sign to you. If you're listening to this video, if you're watching this video, if you think that anything is wrong with your flow, with your periods, with your menstrual cycle, with your skin, with your acne, and you want to get to the bottom of it, please do request those blood tests. Please do request those ultrasounds, because if I hadn't gotten an ultrasound with the NHS, for sure gone for an ultrasound privately, which would have cost me a lot more money. And I understand not everyone can afford that. It's just your sign to understand that it's not normal and it may not be normal. I first got diagnosed with PCOS this Monday the 27th of March. I literally embedded myself and overwhelmed myself with so much information. Reading papers, watching videos, reading a lot of medical articles, reading the NHS website. I just wanted to know everything about PCOS. Everything. Especially a lot of papers. I read a lot of medical papers, researched papers, to see what they had done and the research that's currently being done with women of PCOS. If you don't already know, 20% of the UK's population of women have been diagnosed with PCOS. Now, my mind wanders to think that's 20% of women that have been diagnosed. What about the women that haven't been diagnosed or have been dismissed like I was? Literally researched every supplement, every skincare plan, everything that you can ever think of in these last few days for PCOS because I wanted to get all the answers. Close friends, I was breaking down. I think the breakdown was rooted from doctors dismissing me and 9 months of waiting to find out what was causing my acne. Anyways, that brings us to the end of this video, and I just wanted to let anyone know, or any woman know, that you are not alone. If your symptoms may not be common as someone who has PCOS, you have the right to be able to get yourself checked. And I think this is so important. Brings us to the end of this video. I just wanted to say thank you so much. This is now a journey that I will be beginning for myself of self-love, self-care, a lot of research, and a lot more to learn. If you would like to join me on this journey, please do subscribe, like, share this video. For the women out there that may be struggling with the same but cannot talk about it. We'll be talking a lot more about this on our page, on Instagram and our TikTok. I will be linking our social media platforms. Me for now, thank you so much for watching, and I'll be back with more videos. I filmed an acne series. I'd like to know how my acne comes along in terms of the antibiotics, my PCOS, and the topical treatment I've been given. Please do like, share, subscribe, because I will be posting a video very, very soon.